Hello, my darlings. Many blessings to you all. And wow, we are here today in the dark of the moon. Again, we have returned back to the womb space of an incredible transformative cycle. And so, yeah, I always feel like when we get back to the dark of the moon, it is this returning and exhaling, so maybe we can just take some nice long exhales together now, just because that's what I'm really feeling like doing this morning. Just breathing in through our nose and exhaling through our mouth. And just feeling as we do that, feeling the tension in our shoulders relaxing and our jaw, and just welcoming in a bit of peace so that we can receive this report that I'm about to offer you all. So it's been quite a crazy cycle for us all, I'm sure, with that lunar eclipse in Scorpio, which was, at the full moon 2 weeks ago. Incredibly deep and intense energies, and definitely has been shifting a lot, for many of us. So I hope that you're all doing okay. And this next cycle that we are about to embark on, is like, I was just feeling into it this morning. What am I going to share? What's it going to be? And I feel there's like two really important things that are coming through to me for this cycle for us all. It's about reconnecting to our intuition as our leader. So there is a compass, that's our intuition that connects us to the spiritual realms. And, the logical brain is really useful and helpful in so many ways, but if it's not being guided by this intuitive higher self, we can get lost in the details, or lost in, records and files and numbers and figures and things. So this is really this cycle that feels, with the alignments that we're going to be presented with, it really is about remembering this intuition as our leader, our inner compass, which knows the way. There's about this inner knowing. And also revealing hidden realities, but the spiritual reality, So when I say that, it's like the spiritual reality that is like the overarching purpose of everything that's happening for us right now. I don't want to say to us, but for us. And it is here, everything that is coming into our life now in this eclipse season, has a spiritual reality that is overarching all of it, and it is an opportunity for us to embrace change, probably, and see, like, well, there is obviously a broader, collective happening that is governing this, and it's really beautiful to witness that and to experience that. So those are my two kind of things that, and they're linked as well, like, so the solar eclipse is going to be obviously at the time of the new moon, and that's on the 10th of June. And the new moon time in the GMT time zone, which is where I am here, is 11:52 a.m. So the eclipse will start at 9:12 in the morning, and its peak will be at 11:41, so just before midday, just around the time of the new moon, and then it will end about 2:11 in the afternoon. This is all in the GMT time zone, so you can find out your time zone by going to timeanddate.com. So Thursday morning here in England is going to be really big. So go follow our intuition, go to where we're called to be at that time. I feel like wherever we are at this time of the eclipse, it's for a reason, so when last year, the end of 2020, we had two big eclipses and the Great Conjunction. All of those times I felt called to this particular sacred site in Glastonbury, and I went and I made offerings, and I gave my menstrual blood and my breast milk to the land. And it was when the constellation Cygnus was aligned to the energies of the eclipse and everything. And I have a really strong connection with Cygnus. It's a swan, which is connected to Isis. So yeah, I did lots of ceremonies around that time, and I actually called in a daughter. I asked the goddess, I asked Cygnus, I asked Isis. I said, if it's our path, I'm ready. I'm ready. I would love to receive a daughter in this lifetime. And I'm feeling quite emotional sharing this with you all now, because we actually had a scan last week and we are having a daughter, which I already knew, as soon as she came, I knew it was her. So this is also the power of these eclipses to really call in that which we are ready to receive in our life. That could be anything. To really go to the places where we feel called to be and align with the land and the stars, and make offerings and make prayers and do ritual and really anchor in that which we're intending. It's so powerful, and I'm finding with this pregnancy journey, it's really teaching me to remember my intuition as the leader over and over again by the things that are coming into my life and being presented to me. It's this inner trust and this inner knowing in the spiritual overarching reality that is framing this all and creating this all. So yeah, and that's coming from my soul, and yeah, the beautiful, cosmic power that is helping us, I feel. So anyway, yeah, it's going to be amazing and big and lots of shifting and changing. I've got my little, what do you call it? Sun moon cycle for June overview. So I'm going to bring that up for you all. So I'm just sharing the screen now, so you should be able to see that. So yeah, this is the new lunar cycle for June and July. So we're starting on the 10th of June with the new moon solar eclipse in Taurus. And so most of you know that I use the actual sky for my astrology. It's called many things. There's many of us in this growing tribe who are using the actual stars and the actual sky for our astrology, because that is what astrology is. It's astronomy. So yeah, that's why it's different from the mainstream kind of Western astrology, which a lot of people use, which is saying that the solar eclipse is in Gemini, which just isn't true. And I'll show you the live sky in a few minutes so you can see where the sun actually is. It's still in Taurus, everyone, and so it doesn't move into Gemini until the 20th of June. So that sees us up until our solstice. So for us in the Northern Hemisphere, we'll be celebrating our summer solstice, or Lifa, at the 21st, 22nd of June. And those of you in the South will be having your winter solstice. So this is a powerful cycle because it contains the solstice portal within it. So, just before this full moon in Sagittarius on the 24th, we're going to have our solstice. And so, the moon will be probably by the south node with Scorpio and Ophiuchus at that time as well. That's the time of the solstice. So that's really powerful, this solstice energy. So this entire cycle is like epic, because we start off with a solar eclipse, we get to the full moon and we're at our solstice time, which is like the crossover point between light and dark. We go to our lightest day here in the north, and in the south you're at your longest night, and then it starts to change, it starts to shift over. So we will start to go into the dark as each day starts to get shorter, and then the south will start to go into the light as each day gets longer. And then looking at the quartz as well, which, you know, many of you know, I consider, you know, we have to look at the whole cycle. You know, I look at everything as a whole cycle, and we are being gifted with many opportunities during this cycle to reconnect with our intuition. And the reason I say that is because the first quarter moon will be in the stars of Virgo, which, you know, many of you know I connect to Isis because she has the big white wings, just like Isis. She does the herbs, she does rituals, she does magic, and she's incredibly intuitive. So this is one of the gifts of Virgo, you know, she's the priestess. So this first quarter moon, which is in the stars of the priestess, you know, we are being gifted this time of like reconnecting with our gifts and our intuition, and, you know, where it may be working with the energy of the priestess, but in the first quarter, you know, it's a really building energy. So there could be energy creating things, new things that are being woven. You know, Virgo is also connected to the weaver. So, you know, in ancient times, you know, the women would weave like tapestries and different things. And the priestess of Avalon would be really great at weaving because, you know, when they were weaving, they would go into a trance-like state and, you know, receive spiritual insights, spiritual wisdom, and maybe even, you know, premonitions and visions and things like this. So this is all embodied in the energy of Virgo Isis, which is the first quarter moon. And then the full moon is going to be in Sagittarius. And so this is right by the galactic center, you know, and I really connect Sagittarius to the energy of Artemis. Artemis is the protector of women and children. She's the twin sister of Apollo. She governs the moon, Apollo governs the sun, you know, so this full moon in Sagittarius right near the galactic center, you know, it's like the whole of this eclipse season, you know, is going to be coming into its fruition. All of the work that we've been doing throughout this eclipse season, this full moon in Sagittarius, which will be on the 24th of June, is going to be, you know, a real culmination and a real pinnacle moment of everything that's been happening, you know. And so the fire of Sagittarius may draw us towards creating fire ceremony, being in community, you know, because as well, you know, this is the time of the solstice, this is the time of coming together, lighting fires, making rituals, gathering under the full moon. Artemis is connected to the full moon, Sagittarius connected to Artemis, you know, and also the plant mugwort, this incredibly magical plant, which is so big in my garden right now. She's gone bonkers out there, which is great because she brings intuition, you know, she brings clear vision, she brings lucid dreaming. She's also healing the womb. Her actual name is Artemisia vulgaris, also connected to mugwort, also connected to Artemis, the moon goddess. So yes, I feel this full moon, we have to connect with Artemis, actually the moon goddess. And it used to be an old tradition in the lands that I dwell upon, you know, that on the summer solstice we would make crowns from mugwort, from Artemis, and we would, you know, obviously put them on our head and we'd dance around the solstice fire. And it was believed that when you throw your crown into the fire of the solstice, you are calling in a year of good health and well-being and protection, because Artemis is also a protector. So, you know, we could do amazing ceremonies around this time. making our own crowns, you know, and, you know, this whole thing with coronavirus, you know, the corona is the crown. And there is a constellation which is just next to the galactic center in Sagittarius, which is called the Corona constellation. I'll show you in the live sky in a moment. And, you know, so the crown, you know, it's our connection to spirit, it's our connection to the cosmic realms. And the plant, mugwort, takes us there, you know. So could be a really powerful ritual to be doing at this full moon, to really connect with our intuitive knowing, our spiritual selves, and bringing that down, that wisdom down into the earthly realms. I was going to drink some tea because I get really on a flow, don't I? I'm like, woo! Okay, and our last quarter moon is in Pisces, and it's conjunct Chiron. This will be on the 1st of July. So this last quarter moon is going to be about healing. It's going to be about the water and feeling and emotions, sensitivity, you know. So this is like the end of the next cycle, you know. So after all of this high point and all of these, you know, gatherings and the ceremonies and the community and the fire and the crowns, you know, we drop back into the ocean. It's like we go for a swim to purify and to cleanse ourselves. You know, we could go to some sacred springs, or, you know, go and jump in the ocean, you know, to really connect with our water element and our feelings, and to really heal. You know, this last quarter moon on the 1st of July is going to really connect us with healing, and probably our healing abilities, and healing the collective, healing all of us, healing the ocean. So you can see, you know, just by looking at this cycle as a whole picture, you know, that the potential for this cycle, you know, it's really connected to healing. It's really connected to intuition, and, you know, the overarching higher spiritual purpose of all of this, you know, of the coronavirus, of everything that's being presented to us over the last few years, you know. So we also have, you know, at the end of this year, we have 2 more eclipses coming up. So, you know, this is what's happening now, is really kind of planting in and anchoring an intention of, you know, what we really want for our reality, for our life. We're going to be asked to make some big changes in our life. And, you know, that could bring like this feeling of, you know, insecurity, you know, because Taurus, you know, is about stability and building and the earth and physical things, you know. So we might be feeling, you know, the foundations of our being really being shaken right now. And, you know, the things that we're being called to change, you know, it's really, of course, it's for our highest potential, it's for our evolution, but it might not be particularly comfortable as well. So I'm going to stop sharing the screen now. I'm just going to pop my phone on silent because I just realized that it's making lots of noises. And there we go. Sorry if that was distracting. It was distracting me more than anything. So, so we're going to jump into the live sky now. Here we go. So I'm going to go to the 10th of June. Actually, let's just go to today first. Where are we? Let's back to real time. Here we are. So this is Stellarium Web. Please have a look at the actual sky when you're doing astrology, because it makes so much more sense to me anyway. And many other people. I'm definitely not alone in this. So let's zoom on in. So we can see here, this is the moon. It's the dark of the moon, so we can hardly see it. It's a, yeah, tiny little blackness there, you can see. So yes, this is the moon, and it's just moved out of Aries and in Taurus now. So it's coming up towards the Pleiades here, as you can see, the Seven Sisters star cluster. So I really feel that the Pleiades are the seven sisters, but they are actually the womb of Taurus. So to me, Taurus is a feminine sign. I believe this to be so because I connect Taurus to Hathor of ancient Egypt. And as well, the brightest star Aldebaran in Taurus over here is one of the royal stars, the royal star of the East. And so, this is where we will be just, close to where we will be having this solar eclipse. And so when you think of the East, the rising of the East, it's like the East is in the medicine wheel, it's new beginnings, it's springtime, it's fresh energy. And so to me, the Taurus energy, it really is an embodiment of the maiden. It's more like Aphrodite. Obviously, it's ruled by Venus. And so when you think about that and Venus's connection to Aphrodite, and the Hathor energy very much being about pleasure and beauty and love, sensuality, embodiment, so this is why I connect the Pleiades as the womb. Then when you think of this as the cow, this would be the actual womb space of the constellation. And, many of the ancients believe that the Pleiades is a very powerful star cluster, but many people also believe that they came from their Pleiadians and all of this kind of jazz. So, yeah, the dark of the moon, which is coming to cross over the Pleiades, is like the returning to the womb, and the womb of the earth. I've been having a lot of stuff coming up around placentas recently, and that we could really benefit. I could benefit, and all of us could benefit from connecting to our placenta. I'm actually reading a book at the moment called Placenta, the Forgotten Chakra. Okay, so when you look at a placenta, it looks like a tree. And when you print it on a piece of paper, it makes an image of a tree. Taurus is an earth element, so this is about the earth. It's about the tree of life. This is about our foundations. The placenta is our foundation. Many of us had our placentas incinerated or disposed of as medical waste, but we know from cultures all over the world the reverence and the respect and the honor that different cultures have for the placenta. In Bali, they have day-long placenta receiving ceremonies where they make offerings and prayers and give thanks to bury the placenta into the earth. So it's very different from a lot of the Western world where the placentas just get taken into medical waste. It's such a difference, to our ancestors and our friends over in the East. And in India, they do similar things as well to really honor the placenta as the cosmic twin. When we plug in our placenta to the earth, it's like Mama knows we're here. Mama Earth knows we're here, and we're connected to the tree of life. And so I feel as well, many of you might have seen the movie Avatar, and there's a tree in Avatar, which is like their placenta tree, right? And it's like where all the spirits are kept, and all of the ancestors whisper to them, and they can connect into the tree when they tie their hair, just like you would tie your placenta, it's to the navel and to the mother, and so wow, like there's so much truth in the movie Avatar, I'm sure. Yeah, but that just dropped in. Anyway, I feel like I'm going off on a big rabbit hole here. Going down a big rabbit hole. So I'm going to just recenter myself back into this cycle. But yeah, you might be getting lots coming up around your placenta and your foundations. So yeah, really reconnect with your placenta and what happened with your placenta, and maybe do a ceremony for that. It could be a really beautiful time to do in this dark of the moon. So moving on around, I'm going to change the time to the 10th. And the new moon is at 11:52 a.m. This is GMT. 11:52. There we go. Okay, so you can see here, this is the sun and the moon, they're together. And the moon is in front of the sun. This is what we have. It's an annular solar eclipse. So the moon is blocking out the rays of the sun. And so, yeah, this happens every year. This is called the Ring of Fire eclipse. It's like very powerful indeed. And, you know, it feels a lot to do with rebirth and new beginnings. And yeah, it's really close to Mercury here. You can see Mercury is right underneath the eclipse. So, and he's retrograde as well at the moment. So that's worth taking into account, you know. So our communications are going into reflection. Our communications are going backwards. So it could be a great time to, you know, rather than communicating, you know, externally, to really do the inner communications. And like I've been saying about our intuition and this spiritual knowing, you know, really connect with that inner compass. And the energy of Mercury, you know, is really helping us to go in and how we communicate. And of course, being in the sign of Taurus, you know, this is about communicating with the earth, you know, so we could be looking at nature, you know, and the world around us, and the trees and the plants and the birds, you know, and how they're communicating, you know, rather than, you know, normally like communicating outwardly, but really looking like in a more kind of reflective way, you know, with Mercury being retrograde. So yeah, I'm going to zoom on out here. So you can see Venus. This red line is the line of the ecliptic, where the sun and the planets move through. And then we have the constellations, the 13 constellations that obviously the sun moves through on the ecliptic line. Just wanted to mention as well that the sun and the moon are aligned to Orion on the time of the eclipse. You can see Orion's belt, these 3 stars here. Now, this is also another very powerful constellation that the ancients used to be very aware of. And of course, we have Sirius down here as well, which is really close to all of this action that's happening. So it's really powerful alignments happening. I'm going to zoom on back in again because Venus is in Gemini. You know, so the feminine, you know, the divine feminine, Sophia, she is connecting into our communication. So we're getting to communicate, you know, our feelings and our values. So we may be sharing, you know, what we really feel, what's really valuable to us. And also we might be feeling quite creative because Venus in Gemini really wants to express her creativity. You know, so we may be called to do art or poetry or writing. You know, this feels like a really great time to be creative with words, creative with music, creative with art, you know, because Mercury being retrograde, you know, it could be a much more kind of inward time of creation, you know, of like maybe we start writing a book or something, you know, like be using the power of words in a more inward way to create something really powerful. And our friend Mars over here, he's just coming into Cancer now. So yeah, the constellation Cancer is also connected to the scarab in ancient Egypt. So I use a lot of Egyptian mythology in my astrology because that fascinates me, and the cosmology of ancient Egypt I really resonate with, you know, much more than, you know, Western astrology's idea of what Taurus is. You know, I really like to delve into, you know, the layers back in time and what other people, what other kind of nations and what other kind of ancestors and ancient people used to use as their way of seeing the stars. So yeah, Mars in Cancer, it's all about it's rebirth, because you know the Cancer energy is the mother, it's about birthing. So something is being born, you know, in the masculine active way of Mars. It's like really actively pushing us to give birth to something. And the scarab beetle actually is connected to resurrection. So, you know, this is connected to the Nile. This is connected to, yeah, the waters breaking and giving birth. I'm not going to give birth yet. I've got a while yet to go, but yeah, you can see this energy of this solar eclipse is really connected to really new beginnings, birthing, resurrection, transformation. You know, I can really see a lot of new projects beginning during this cycle that are really connected to our spiritual purpose, that are connected to, you know, our intuition and our deepest and highest knowing, you know. So this time at this solar eclipse, it feels like, you know, we've really gone to the depths of ourselves over the last 2 weeks since the lunar eclipse in Scorpio. You know, we've been tested, we've been given lessons, you know. So this time now at the solar eclipse and the new moon, it's about really transforming those lessons and learning from them and starting to initiate change where it's needed, in the places that it's needed. So yeah, this could be a time of action, of really starting to move forward in this new direction. Incredibly powerful, hey? I'm just going to jump over to the new moon eclipse chart. I've got a few little things to show you. Yeah, now I think I'm nearly done after that then. Probably won't go into the other charts today just because of time. But yes, so this is our solar eclipse energy over here in Taurus, as you can see. Yeah, so the Mercury being there, I said, you know, this could be a real kind of breakthrough in terms of how we're communicating, you know, and with it being in Taurus and the earth, it feels like communicating for the earth, with the animals and the creatures and the physical things. And, you know, I feel like the Mars energy, because it's opposing Pluto, I'm just going to draw a line. Woo, is it going to work? There we go. So Pluto is retrograde over in Sagittarius, and obviously we have Mars just coming into Cancer, as I said earlier. You know, so these two opposite each other, you know, it really does feel like transformation of the spiritual warrior, of the shadow walker. So Lord of the underworld, Pluto, is opposing Mars, the warrior. So it's a real time of like warrior energy, of like resurrecting the masculine. It's like the ultimate warrior. My son has got this alignment in his chart, my little boy, who's nearly 2. So when he was born, his Mars is in Cancer and his Pluto is in Sagittarius. So wow, we've been having a lot going on in my house. Holy moly, like seriously. Yeah, it's quite intense. He's definitely the ultimate warrior, my goodness. Yeah, and some of you might know him, and he's quite epic. My little boy called Arthur. Yeah. So, anywho, so yeah, this energy of Pluto and Mars, it can be, you know, quite intense, as I was saying, but it does really bring through this warrior energy, this kind of really powerful warrior energy, which is like embracing the dark, you know, and it's like the shadow walker, the warrior of the dark. And then it makes me think of Hanuman as well, you know, like Hanuman, who's kind of like where he's destroying the demons and things. But it feels like the warrior who is in the underworld, you know, transforming and rebirthing. Yeah. And of course, you know, we've still got the energy of Uranus square Saturn, which is throughout the year. You know, this is like freedom versus constriction and restriction, and it's very much playing out in our world right now, isn't it? You know, the energy of Uranus is going to be joined by the goddess Ceres, you know, at the time of this eclipse. So, you know, she's teaming up with Uranus and it's like, because Uranus is all about enlightenment, awakening. It's the great awakening. And in Aries, it's about new beginnings. So it's beginnings of these new awakenings, right? And Ceres being there, it's about nurturing and mothering. So this feels like a new awakening and a new beginning that's really connected to the mother, which really weaves in nicely with what I was sharing to you about the placenta and the earth and the tree of life. You know, so this is about a rebirth, which is connected to the mother. Yeah, it feels really good. And obviously this is in square to Saturn. So Saturn being, you know, connected to time and structures, and it's like the government and the father figure or the authority. You know, so this is really challenging aspect that's playing out throughout the year, but it may feel like really big for us at this solar eclipse, you know, freedom versus not freedom, basically. So yeah, it could be quite bringing up quite a lot of challenges for us, and wanting to break free from old systems and structures and create a new way, this great awakening. So we may be feeling this kind of like wanting to, yeah, burst out like the phoenix energy. And I feel like also the Mars being in Cancer, it's like connected to the birthing and the mother, you know, so it feels massive, like shifting energy at this time. And also, you know, Venus is in trine to Chiron. So, is she in square? No, she's in trine. So, yeah, so we could be feeling like this energy of healing the feminine. And what, you know, the feminine wounds may be coming up to be looked at and to be nurtured and tended to. So this could be playing out in many ways for you. You know, it feels like a real shaking up of old foundations and old structures, and yeah, paving the way to rebirth. So the masculine energy of Mars, you know, in the watery energy of Cancer, you know, and the scarab, yeah, it feels so much like birthing energy. And of course, you know, this cycle, we're going to be coming up to our solstice, like I've said before, which is incredibly powerful time to really connect with that high point of summer for us in the north and the high point of winter, or the low point of winter for you in the south. So yeah, this whole cycle, you know, it's so transformative, and it feels like, you know, shaking of our old foundations, and really, like we may have had over the last few weeks, like this revelation of this hidden spiritual reality, and we'll go, that's why this is happening, you know. So we may be seeing that we're getting these kind of insights, these spiritual insights that are coming through right now, and you know, that is giving us a chance to really, you know, reclaim that which we need to see and kind of move forward now, because we might be having more clarity around of certain things. Yeah, and also Mercury retrograde is actually in square to Neptune and Pallas over here, and which is also connected to in sextile to Saturn, I think, yeah. So this is like the energy of Mercury retrograde, which is squaring into Neptune and Pallas, which I talked about before. You know, it's like it could bring kind of confusion and maybe kind of not seeing things clearly. But, you know, when we come back to our intuition as leader, you know, we could be using herbs like mugwort to really open our third eye, you know, and we might actually be getting lots of channeling and lots of messages coming in from the divine, and the spiritual side of things could be really strong for us right now, especially in our dreams. You know, so this is like an inner communication which is like transforming illusions. And so hopefully, I think if we're trying to be too physical, we're trying to be like in our logical brain, that might be where the challenges are. But if we're tapping into our intuition as leader, you know, that could be the most powerful place that we could be right now, to really start to see things. And, you know, like I was saying about the first quarter moon in Virgo connected to the weaver, can really start weaving like grandmother spider, weaving our creations into reality coming from this spiritual realms. So yeah, the cycle, my goodness, it's jam-packed and definitely bring big shifts for us. And yeah, whatever has been coming up for you the last few weeks, I really hope that, you know, you're riding the energies okay, and you're getting everything that you need, and you're taking time to, you know, self-care and to nurture yourself. And I think that's really important, you know, to really receive as well. And this is also one of the gifts of Taurus, you know, so we've got, you know, a few more weeks of Taurus before we come into Gemini. The sun moves into Gemini on the 20th of June. So, you know, getting a massage could be amazing, you know, or making a beautiful meal, you know, with all the best ingredients, and really loving ourselves like that, you know, and really looking after our body, you know, because Taurus is connected to the body. And yeah, so we could be doing lots of womb healing, that kind of stuff, dance, embodiment. It's all of the medicine of Taurus. So yeah, and this new cycle is beginning off, you know, this new rebirthing energy with this eclipse to really help us to anchor our intentions and to, yeah, just really start to live from the values of Taurus, you know, because our North Node is still here too. So this is our collective destiny, you know, the values of Taurus, you know, it's connected to, like I was saying, all of the things that I was saying is self-love, valuing ourselves, valuing our body. You know, Aldebaran, being one of the Bohemian stars, you know, is the brightest star in Taurus, and that is connected to high intelligence, honesty, honorable behavior, eloquent communication, courage, and success. And the stone that they connect to that is ruby, and the herb is milk thistle. So yeah, there's lots that can be weaved into this cycle if you're kind of pulling together all the threads of all of the things that I've been sharing, and hopefully you can find some gold in there. I'm going to stop sharing the screen now and say goodbye. I've been talking for quite some time, but I think this is Venus in Gemini. La 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 la. Yeah. And I just love sharing this, you know, I love sharing about astrology and what I feel and what I receive. Yeah, definitely reconnecting to intuition as the leader, our inner compass, which knows. That's our truth, that's our knowing, you know. So yeah, this is my real I guess guidance for this next cycle for myself and for you. You know, and so when we aren't sure about something, really asking our intuition, our inner leader, which we are, we have to reclaim that leadership in ourselves. So yeah, that's all for now, my darlings, and I hope that you have a wonderful solar eclipse wherever you are. I think you can see it up in Greenland and Russia and up north. So yeah, we won't be able to see it here in England, but yeah, hopefully we'll get some good pictures of it on the internet. All right, darlings, we'll send you so much love, and thank you everyone for subscribing and being here with me. I'm going to keep going as long as I can. Not due until October, so we'll see how it goes, but I'll let you know when it's my last video. All right, darlings, ciao ciao, lots of love.